Well, now, Simon Dan, this is your life. Dan was born in the 1980s as Dan E. Rigsby. His parents, Joe and Eleanor Rigsby, were dear friends of Paul McCartney. He had a very normal childhood. He enjoyed testing gravity, as you can see here. Later in his childhood, he was a very precocious kid. His mother often found him running tests of Coriolis. He had very few friends because all he wanted to play was science. In school, early years foundation, this was taught by the renowned educator J.M. Truth, who taught spelling and introduction to scientism. When asked, his quote about Dan was, "Dan always in trouble. He could spell better than I could, which left him sitting in the corner a lot." He did not want to help cultivate the vegetables. His primary education, sleeping warrior Anthony Riley, was Dan's primary chemistry teacher. When asked about Dan, he simply said, "You cannot have more than one independent variable in a true scientific experiment." No one's sure what that means. Key stage 5 education. Everyone, of course, will recognize this picture as Professor Baldycat's PhD. He was the second choice as Dan's stage 5 physics teacher. The first choice, Conspiracy Cats, was far too funny and could not keep the class seriously on task. Together, he and Dan were impossible to control. Professor Baldy's comment was that Dan did well in spite of his preference for conspiracy. At university, of course, Dan excelled at university. You would expect that, especially with his academic advisor, Sir David Attenborough. His quantum physics professor, Dr. Richard Feynman. Astronomy with Dr. Michio Kaku. This was done by distance learning. And then, of course, theoretical physics with Dr. Stephen Hawking. Our boy Dan has always been into fitness. In all seriousness, he just ran a marathon and raised 10,000 pounds for Action Duchenne. He's preparing to run the Berlin Marathon in a couple of weeks, just for the fit of it. Jealous flat earth weenies often say Dan is skinny, but I can assure you that even though Dan is self-deprecating, he is as fit as can be, as you can see here. And yes, he gets out of the office every day. Some other pursuits. Dan spends a good deal of his time in scholarly pursuits. He is well known as the godfather of flat earth debunkers. The National Science Foundation wanted to give him the Keck Observatory, but he preferred the balmy weather of England over icky Hawaii. So instead, they gave him this £500,000 portable telescope. Well done, Dan. So, in all seriousness, I'm being real serious here, Dan is a longtime tutor, has a business tutoring with many employees and over 1,000 of students. He understands the questioning mind. Dan has made his YouTube channel a success because of his logic and scientific reasoning. He sincerely cares about his viewers, and he doesn't just make flat earth debunking videos. He has a scientific book club, which you can join at any time. He has almost 2,000 members at this point. He's taught a 5-video course, which I sat through, on astronomy, and this is also available on his channel. He has a class once a month called Science Top 5. This is available on his channel. He has a very personal video about anti-vaxxing. I highly recommend you watch that. He has very exciting things on the way. You're going to be bowled over by the things that are coming. He has a scientific education and learning called the SEAL Team. And we're anxious to see what these guys have been up to. Dan has a loving and supportive family, and he's currently taking university courses toward a more advanced degree. And we wish him all the best in that endeavor. And now, the obligatory commercial. Dan rarely asks, and he plays it down, but I'm allowed to be more crass about it. It's important for your well-being that you go to his channel and like, thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that bell option. You won't regret it. What you see from Dan is only the highest quality videos. If you don't do this, you're going to miss all this coming excitement. So get over there and subscribe. If you don't, YouTube may depersonalize you, and you certainly don't want that. One last thing I need to say, you really should join his Patreon to do your part to bring on the new excitement. You can join for as little as one, and it will help, guaranteed. And if you join for $1,000 per month, or $1,000 per month, whether it's dollars or whatever, you will get a one-of-a-kind replica of Daniel Pratt's brain. And you can see my little disclaimer there. So In closing, Simon and Dan, this has been your life. Live it 1/4 mile at a time.